We are back for another episode of the Summer Shift presented by US Steel. Hope everyone out there is continuing to have a great summer. We kicked things off last week with Kasperi Kapanen, and now here in episode two, we kind of had the appetizer. We go with the entree. Brandon Tanev joining us from north of the border, just making it happen, spending some time with us. Tans, appreciate you taking the time and joining us on the Summer Shift.
Thanks, Josh. It's nice to see a familiar face again, and hopefully you're doing well.
Yeah, I am. And you look like you're doing well. And as we were talking before we started, you also still have the hair, thank God. I don't know if you can make the look again, but you definitely made some headway, I think, with a lot of people and a lot of places with this headshot that you took last season. First of all, you keeping the hair, I assume, and what do you have as a follow-up for this year?
Yeah, I think the hair is going to stay for now. I'm not sure what I'm doing with it, but we'll let it go for a little bit and see where it takes me. And that's a good question. I don't know how I'm going to top that one, even though it was accidental and completely caught me by surprise. But we'll have to think of something here and conjure something up to beat that one because that was a priceless moment for sure.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about that. We didn't get a chance to really reflect on that a whole lot. You kind of had the passing comment that you saw a ghost in this picture. Uh, First of all, I did a little bit of research. Toronto, Ontario has like a pretty big ghost population. Had you seen one ever before, or was this all just in the sense of that moment when you took the picture, a ghost popped up behind you?
Yeah, I didn't know that there's a pretty big ghost population here in Toronto, but I mean, right at the moment, kind of something might have spooked me. I guess it was a ghost when it happened and caught me completely off guard, and I guess that's the face I went with. Pretty interesting face with everything that was going behind the gentleman who was taking our photos. So that's a story I've got for you guys. That's a story I'm sticking with, and my answer's not going to change.
Fair enough. Did you see a lot of the stuff that came as a result of this picture, the memes and stuff like that? Like, did you and your teammates have fun with that? Were there any that jumped out to you?
Yeah, that was. I mean, I feel like it was an endless string of memes with that one there. My buddies and my family and my parents, especially my mom, they were sending me stuff, and I mean, it never seemed to get old with anything that happened in like some group chats I had with some friends. I feel like one of the memes of my face with the wide eyes would pop up, and it would just crack me up, and we'd start laughing after that. But I mean, it's a funny moment, and it's something that I can look back on and definitely laugh about it.
You've become a big name throughout the fan base here in Pittsburgh. You've been here for a couple of years now, Tans, and I know obviously last year was a little different as far as one, access to the fans, two, just the season in general. But how do you think that that's kind of worked so quickly as far as a great relationship is concerned with you and this fan base seeming to, find a quick love for each other in a pretty short amount of time?
Yeah, I think that's just the city of Pittsburgh in itself, and the people that follow the Penguins and the fans of the Penguins themselves. I think it's such a strong and great fan base, and I feel like I was able to assimilate really well into the city of Pittsburgh and with the Penguins and all through the great love of the game for the people that Pittsburgh have in hockey and the Penguins themselves. I felt like it was really easy for me to kind of come into the city and feel like at home. It's such a welcoming city. The people are great. There's a ton to do in the city, and I've loved every second and moment I've been in Pittsburgh, and it continues to grow. I mean, there's new things every day that you see and haven't done yet, and it's just amazing. It's close to home for me in Toronto. It's not too far of a drive, which is nice. So I'm able to bring friends and family obviously previously when COVID wasn't going on, and so that was a huge plus too. But I think just the city itself and the people that are in Pittsburgh have made things completely easy for me, and we've grown to love each other in that sense.
Not just on the ice, but sometimes in front of the camera. I mentioned the picture behind me, but you also were caught a handful of times this year on the bench, uh, choking down some mustard packets. And I'm curious about this because one, that's unique. So I first want to know, how did that kind of come about for you? Why mustard? Why were you drawn to that?
One of my old teammates in Winnipeg, Adam Lowry, actually, we he kind of put me on it, to be honest with you. So I'll give all the credit to him. But I saw him one day, eating a package of mustard on the bench, and I'm like, I kind of looked at him and gave him a weird look. And then I said, you know what? I asked one of our trainers in Winnipeg if he could give me one too. And I had one and kind of, I liked the taste, I guess, or the feeling or what it did for me. To be honest with you, it's tough to describe, but I've just kind of put it into my routine. So it's one of those things where if I'm not feeling things or I need something, I feel like on the bench, I'll turn around to Stu or Dana or Steedsy, and they'll fire me a package of mustard. And maybe it's the taste that gets me that I like, or I've just got it embedded in my head that sometimes I need that little extra or something else, to kind of take my mind away from something during the game. And I guess, the package of mustard does that for me.
Do you have a choice? Are you going yellow? Is it spicy, brown mustard? Any one you prefer?
Just a simple package of Heinz yellow mustard works for me.
Good answer.
I'm not too picky there.
I mean, we've all seen the smelling salts and stuff of that nature, but anything anyone has done that's kind of jumped out to you aside from the mustard?
Not necessarily. I think obviously every player and everyone's different, so they all have different parts of the routine or different individual aspects about themselves that they use to get themselves ready. So I think, I mean, not necessarily anything that's really jumped off the table. I mean, obviously, when I saw Lau's first eat the mustard, I was kind of taken back, and obviously now I've got that into my routine. But I think for the most part, smelling salts, what guys do with water bottles and stuff like that. I think it's all pretty straightforward. But I haven't seen anything that's kind of wowed me or like been like, whoa, like, what's going on here? I mean, most guys are pretty strict with their routines, and some guys obviously don't have a routine that they follow. They like to change it up on a daily or gamely basis, and that's just the feeling they get, for the game of hockey. So I mean, answering that, I'd probably say no. I don't really think that there's something that's kind of jumped off the page for me there.
Well, you mentioned routine, which is a word that I was hoping you'd somehow work into one of those answers because that's where I wanted to go to next. And I've been fortunate to be with the Penguins for a handful of years now, so I don't really have the basis of other teams in the league like you do, having played for Winnipeg. But I would bet that there's probably not a team that has as many superstitions, habits, routines as it comes to taking place to play a hockey game as the Pittsburgh Penguins. And I got to ask you, being here a couple of years now, there's been a lot of change within this dressing room over those couple of seasons. There obviously are the constants of the core players that have been around as well. But how do things shake out as far as that line of you guys walking onto the ice out of the dressing room? How do people find their niche there? And, how do you stake claim to a spot? Because you've had guys that seemingly have found a spot, then they've moved on. New guys have come in that have been veterans. I mean, how do people find their role or their position in that line walking out onto the ice?
I mean, I don't really know what goes on towards the latter end of the line. I feel like those guys have got it down packed there with themselves. But I mean, for the most part, I think guys, like they just jump into a spot, and if it works, it works. I mean, I don't think um, in my situation, I come out right before Gensey, and we've had that for the last 2 years now. So I mean, it's been one of those things where it's just kind of been second nature. I mean, this is my time to kind of to get walking before we go out, and so it's one of those things where it works. I mean, if you find a spot that you fit well into, I mean, that's what we go with. But I mean, I don't necessarily think too much about it because right when we're going onto the ice, I think everyone knows, oh, this is it's my time to get moving here. I'm in front of so and so, or I'm in front of Gensey and behind whoever. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things where guys know when the number on the clock hits and it's time to walk out, it's just a flow of all the guys heading out onto the ice.
Well-oiled machine when you guys hit the ice at PPG Paints Arena and across the league. That's definitely for certain. As you and I speak right now, you're in Toronto, your hometown, your off-season home. Any plans, or have you had any type of vacation to kind of unwind? It was obviously a strange season, not much time to reset before next season gets underway. What's on the docket for Brandon Tanev here over the next little bit?
Yeah, obviously I'm back home in Toronto, which is nice now to kind of to see some family and friends. It'd been a long time, and obviously with no one really able to come across and see the games with COVID, it made it a little difficult. So kind of wanted to get home, a little quicker than I normally would, just to see some family and friends and that's such. But I mean, after the season, I went on a vacation with Cappy. I mean, that was a lot of fun. I'm sure he might have mentioned it. We were able to go down to his place in Florida there and spend some time together and golf and kind of hang out and get away from things, relax. And we were fortunate enough to meet some great people in Florida, play some great golf courses, and enjoy some great weather. I mean, with Cappy, I mean, he's one of my good friends now on the team, and we keep in touch on a daily basis. And he was awesome in bringing me down to Florida, his place, and we had a great time down there. That was an awesome little trip before I headed back up north to Toronto.
Yeah, he did talk about that a little bit. He had some good things to say about your golf game, first of all. So I'm curious for your thoughts on his, because I asked him if he could have, we were talking about the match and Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady and Phil Mickelson and Bryson DeChambeau facing off. And I asked him who his partner would be if he had to play in the match and he was paired with a professional golfer. He said Tiger, but then he took it one further and said if he could pick a foursome, he would go Tiger, John Rahm, and Brandon Tanev.
Wow. I mean, I don't know if I fit well into that company with those two sports icons there, but I mean, I guess that's Cappy being really generous to me there. I mean, Cap and I are real good friends, and we clicked kind of right from the beginning when he came into Pittsburgh. I mean, I guess with him being in Toronto for many years and myself growing up in Toronto, I guess it was easy for the both of us to kind of to talk about things and have something in common, and then the relationship and friendship just built from there. So it was one of those things where it started off kind of like, like introduce yourself, and every day it grew and grew and grew, and we hung out more and more. And I mean, Cap's a great golfer. Don't let him tell you any differently. He played some really good rounds down in Florida, and he's only getting better every day as the more he plays. And he's just an awesome guy, an even better person. He loves to do things for other people, and that's the person who he is. He's awesome. He's got always got a smile on his face, and always likes to enjoy himself.
He said, as far as you and his relationship was concerned, when you guys first started to meet each other on the ice, it was in the American Hockey League when you were with Manitoba and he was with Toronto. And he wasn't too fond of you. He was pretty straightforward about that. He said you were annoying to play against and you were constantly on his tail. What did you view him as when you first were playing against him?
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously a great talent on the ice. I mean, he skates so well, handles the puck, and he's a gifted player. I mean, growing up as a young kid, you obviously watched his father play in the NHL for many years, and when you see him playing, it's fun to watch. He's so effortless. He has so much skill, and he's a great person, and he's an even better hockey player. So I mean, that's all I have to say about him. I guess I was going a little hard on him back in the day, unknowingly, but I guess that's just how I am when it comes to the game. And I mean, it's usually how things work when you're hard on somebody in the game and get into them a little bit, and then they meet you off the ice. Things usually tend to click that way. So I guess that's why our friendship has really taken off.
Clearly a good friendship, good teammates, definitely two big pieces for the Pittsburgh Penguins. I have one more question for you, then we're going to roll into our next segment where I kind of hand it over to some questions the fans have for you. But I was just curious, I mean, called you Tans. We all know Turbo also is a nickname for you. Obvious reasons for those two, your speed and your last name. Where did the Sheriff come from? And do you embrace the Sheriff?
I don't necessarily embrace it. I guess it was one of those things where obviously during a game I had a little feuded battle with someone and called him the sheriff. So I guess we can leave it at that. I guess I don't know if my nickname would be the sheriff. I guess I'd probably call a few other guys in the league that if I get into a little heated argument or battle on the ice with them, and I guess we'll leave it at that.
One of the classic moments from last season, no doubt about that, Terrence. Thanks for being a good sport there. We're going to ask some questions to you from the fan base. There were some pretty good ones. I want to start with this one from Twitter. At Stars Oversea is the question. We're going back to the ghost theme. They want to know if you had to form a group to go on a ghost hunt, which of your teammates would you select for that group?
Um, I feel like I definitely select Cappy for sure. I feel like he's definitely out there a little bit too. So we'd vibe well in that situation. But I definitely would want to also see G in that situation. I know there's a couple of things that spook G a little bit, and I'd love to see him in the environment hunting for ghosts or getting scared in a situation like that. So I'd go with G and Cappy on that one.
That's a pretty good group. Yeah, I feel like those night vision videos of Gino would be pretty good in that type of situation. Let's see. Christy Walters asks, who would play you in a movie about your life?
Oh, geez. I guess we could go with we'll go with two answers. We'll go Kramer from Seinfeld, and then we'll go with Dave Franco.
Wow. Okay. All right. That's kind of like different ends of the spectrum a little bit there.
Yeah, a little bit different ends of the spectrum. I love Seinfeld, and I feel like I've got that same personable aspects as Kramer and that quirkiness and energy. But I mean, I don't know why Dave Franco just popped into my head, so I
I
don't have an
see it a
answer
little
for
bit.
it, but
Yeah.
that's the other individual I think that could work.
All right. Fair enough. Couple more, and then we'll move on. Ryan Thompson wants to know if you're sitting on an airplane, commercial plane, uh, when sitting in the middle seat, who gets to use the armrests?
I guess if you get up to go to the bathroom, you might not get them back. So if you're stuck in the middle seat and you get there early and you've got um, control the armrest rather, I guess you're the you might be able to dictate. But I mean, I'm pretty good with it. Like I'll uh, I'll split it. I mean, I don't necessarily need them. I try my best to fall asleep on an airplane as I can. It definitely doesn't work, but you always have to be accommodating in that situation with whoever you're sitting beside and make it work for both of you guys.
Last question from the fans. Michael, I hope I say his last name right here, Lucio. He wants to know, going back to golf, have you ever had a hole in one?
I have not had a hole in one. I've been extremely close a couple times. I haven't seen one in person. I'm waiting for the day I can get a hole in one and just walk off the course, but it's yet to happen.
All right. Well, we will wait as with you and hope for the best on that front. You got a couple months here until the season starts and you're all back about hockey. So maybe you still have it in your sights here in the near future. Let's roll into our final part here. These are 6 questions that we asked Cappy last week. We'll ask you, we'll ask every guest here on the summer shift just to kind of wind things down and send you on your way into the rest of your summer, Tan. So, first off, tell us one superstition that you have.
I always tie my right skate before my left.
When did that start?
For as long as I can remember, I always put on my right shin pad, my right elbow pad, my right glove, or I tie my right skate before I do the left one.
Okay. All right. Hey, whatever works. What is something that you can't live without or something of great significance that you possess?
Ooh, that's a good question. I guess we'll go with my golf clubs.
All right. I thought you might say your phone. I don't know. That's what Cappy went with last week. So
Yeah, I try not to spend too much time on that, especially in the summertime when the weather's nice.
fair enough. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. You mentioned going down to Florida. I know I kind of asked you this question, but I'll rephrase it. It was going to be where are you vacationing this summer, but I'll ask, where's your dream vacation? If you could go anywhere and you had the time, where would you like to go?
Probably Japan, to be honest with you. I'm a huge fan of the Japanese cuisine, and obviously you have the best of both worlds over there. You can ski in the mountains, and then you can go to some of the nicest beaches in the world too. And I've really grown to love Japanese food, so that's definitely something I'd really like to do in my time.
Are you a big sushi guy then?
I am, yes. I love sushi and fish. It's some of my favorite food.
What's your go-to sushi roll?
My go-to sushi roll probably be like a spicy tuna, with
Nice.
something like that. It depends. I mean, I guess if the place that I'm getting sushi from has a specialty roll or something like that, like a little different from place to place, I like to try those. I'm not too picky about food. I really eat anything, so I'm open to trying new things.
Yeah, sushi's awesome, especially in the summer. It's a good thing to have. All right, now I want to know. We did this with Cappy last week. He stumped me, so pressure's on you. Two truths and one lie about yourself. I'll guess the lie, but you got to fire off those for me right now.
I have 6 fake teeth. I'm a 2 handicap, and I never wear sunscreen.
Whew, a lie in there. You know, I respect your golf game, but I feel like a 2 handicap is probably the lie.
No, I have 6 fake teeth is the lie.
Oh, wow. Okay. I would have assumed at one point or another you would have lost a handful. Okay. That's good to know. So I'm 0 for 2 on that so far in the summer shift. Good.
I've lost a couple teeth, but not that many. I figured, with playing hockey, that would be the one to kind of just overlook. But I guess I was able to stump you there.
Yeah, you did. You got me. Two more, and then you're all finished, Hans. We played this with Cappy. I'm going to kind of put you on the spot here, so apologies in advance. A couple weeks ago, I was listening to some songs on Spotify, and we got into playing the game of playing a song from your first ever album that you owned. We don't have the luxury of Spotify right here, but we do have the luxury of your vocal cords. So if you could hum for me a song from your first ever album, I'll try to guess it. And again, I did not get Cappy's last week, so I'm setting the bar here pretty low, but we'll see what you can come up with.
Mm, 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 mm. Were you able to hear that?
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, that's pretty. I mean, I don't know if it's um, like my rhythm is great, but that's the. I'll do it again. Mm, 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 mm.
I feel like it sounds familiar, and I'm just overthinking it right now. Uh,
Yeah, it's. I feel like you're right on the right path here.
yeah, give me a hint.
Oh wow, this um, boy band.
Oh, Backstreet's Back, all right.
Yeah,
Yes. 1 for 1, or 1 for 2, whatever. 50%, we'll take it. All right, I that's good. I mean, mine was Boys to Men, so I mean, we're on the boy band track
yeah.
there as far as the concerts are concerned and the songs. Last one, Tans. Give us a recommendation of something you're currently into right now. It could be a TV show, a book, a movie, song, podcast, whatever.
Um, I guess this cooking does that
Yeah,
fall into the category?
sure.
I love to cook. I'm a huge fan of it. So I mean, anytime I can watch a cooking show, read a cooking book. I mean, it's a great way to kill some time, but at the same time to learn about things. There's a show on Netflix called Chef's Table rather, that I've watched recently, and it's some of the best chefs around the world, and they compete in a competition, going from country to country, and cooking the national dishes of these countries, and it's just really incredible to watch to see how impressive these chefs are and what they're able to do. It's truly remarkable, and I've really got into to cooking shows, reading cooking books and TV shows and stuff like that. So that would be that's something I'm interested in and would love for other people to kind of enjoy the same things as me on that sense.
All right, so Chef's Table on Netflix. That's the show.
Yes, it is.
Okay, we'll look for that one, and we will look for you, I guess, back in a couple months' time in Pittsburgh. I'm looking forward to seeing what the sequel is to this, Tans. Thanks so much for taking the time with me, and best of luck in the training the rest of the summer. We'll see you back in Pittsburgh suited up.
Thanks, Josh. Appreciate it, and stay safe, and hope all is well.
All right, that's Brandon Tanev on episode 2 of the Summer Shift presented by U.S. Steel. I'm Josh Getzoff, and we will talk to you on episode number 3.